Good evening. We are continuing on Daf Sadi Aleph Amud Aleph, approximately 24 lines down, around halfway down. Last thing we mentioned were the five opinions that things that change possession, when things change while they're in someone else's possession, it's not considered an acquisition. We brought five opinions, including Bet Shammai. The problem with that is, did all these Tanaim who hold that changes do not change ownership all hold like Bet Shammai, but we know we always hold like Bet Hillel. So how does that work? When I says what they're saying is no Haku Bet Shammai Bet Hillel but they're saying no Bet Shammai never had a machlok Bet Hillel. Even Bet Hillel would agree, and therefore they hold like Bet Hillel. Rama says, Mimai, who says that all these Tanaim in all these cases hold that changes don't make a difference? Maybe each case is an exception to the rule. For example, maybe Rabbi Shimon regarding the dying says maybe in the case of dye, it changes. It doesn't change because maybe it's reversible by changing the dye, by like changing it removing it through detergent. Maybe a Bet Shammai only holds, only holds that there's no change, that change doesn't make a difference, is regarding for a korban, right? In the case of the korban for the money that was used for zana or dog. Mishum demais, because over there it's disgusting, so therefore we're machmir. And maybe by the case of Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov in regarding to making a beracha on the stolen challah, maybe over there doesn't make some difference because we're machmir, because mishum the mitzvah it's mitzvah coming through an avira. We don't want that. But in general, it won't make a difference. Maybe Rabbi Shimon ben Lazar also held in his case in regarding to the stolen animal that changed from being better to worse to better. Doesn't make a difference. And that's because it's something that can be fixed. If it's now it's skinnier, just feed it more food. Regarding pe'ah, maybe he's mahmir by pe'ah. The extra word ta'azov teaches you that you have to leave something no matter what. Maybe we should learn from the case of Pe'ah to teach you that all other cases, like a binyan av, all other cases that change don't change anything. We say no, we say no mahmir, or maybe mahmir by the gifts of the poor, and therefore you can't bring a proof. I have a question to Rabbi Natan. What's the Rabbi Shmuel reason that holds that Pe'ah must be separated even if you made it already in the like your dough on the table? Because is it because they holds that change doesn't acquire change of acquisition? Or maybe he does hold that it does change. But over here, over here, because they have an extra word yetira, extra word ta'azov, leave it for them means all the time you have to leave it for them. And therefore, even if it's on your table. Maybe if you were to say that Rishmael's reason is that he holds that because even a change in the item does not change ownership or makes an acquisition. What would he do with the word ta'azov? Two, and additionally, who hold that you can't do pe'ah once you change. What does he do with the word ta'azov? So the Gemara says, they need it for the following halakha. Hamafkir karmov. Someone made his vineyard hefker, v'hishkim labokar usaro, and then he woke up early in the morning and reacquired it. Chayav b'peret v'alilot uvshecha upeah. He's chayav in peret alilot shecha and peah. Peret and alilot is the equivalent of leket for grain, but this is for a vineyard. And upatur min maaser, patur from maaser. Right. So in general, if you make something hefker, you're patur from certain halachot. Except in this case, if you are mafkir, your vineyard, and you reacquire it, it's not like we don't look at it like you acquired someone else's thing. We do look like you acquired the same one, and you're still chayav in there. Because of that extra word ta'azov. Marvizam Shmuel. The halacha is like according to Rabbi Shmuel that if the animal gets worse, you can return the animal as is after you stole it. We the case, but Shmuel says, we don't evaluate it for a thief or a robber. Yani, if the animal dies, we don't check the value and repay it. Rather, you keep the carcass and you pay for the original price of the animal in full. The only time we evaluate the carcass is when it's when it gets damaged. According to Rava, in the case of the Gemara says, where Rabbi Shimon says that you can return the animal that got worse the price dropped on the animal. That's referring to an animal that you could fix. It's reversible. You could just feed it some fresh grass. Lakasha. There's no stira. When Shmuel says, according to Rida, that the halakha, according to the Rashba, that's referring to when the change stays with the owner is when it's a it's a case that's reversible. And over there, when Shmuel says the only time you evaluate is for a thief by damages, that's referring to a case where it's not reversible. And the animal lost a leg. And the who holds Rabbi Sheba holds that you can return the animal even in a case where it's not reversible. What's this? What's the? How do you explain the stiran to Braitot? Where it says Abaye Hamakni Achi, he teaches as follows. Shmuel, he says, Amud Bet, Amru Halakha Krishba, Viladlo Surah, he says the Halakha Zakakim, but we don't like it. Right? So he acknowledges the stiran, doesn't approve. Okay, Mara Bichia, the Barba Mara Bichon, the Bartura, the biblical halakha. Gizla Nishtanet, the Khazet Be'ine. A stone item that went had a physical change. You can return it as is. Any point that you stole, anything that you steal, you can return as is. If you want to bring a case from our Mishnah that says that if you stole it and you changed it, you pay the money. That's only because of you want people to do teshuvah, and if you make them give back the item, they don't want to do it. That's more of a takana, not necessarily halakha. Rabbi Yochanan really hold that. But Rabbi Yochanan halakha is the Mishnah. Rabbi Yochanan holds that the halakha is like the Mishnah. Mishnah says, "Lo hespeak l'tino lo ad batur." If the owner of the wool did not manage to give the shearings of the animal, right, the halakha of the shearings of the animal to the kohen before he died, it's patur. So we see you patur completely, not money, and not the item. We see does change anything, and over there there's no halakha of the stealing. You want to do teshuvah. A certain rabbi named Yaakov told them, I heard the halakha from Rabbi Yochanan himself. It said, so when the Torah says a change doesn't change anything, the acquisition, it's referring to a case where he made it into utensils, the at all. That's referring to a case of wood that would change into an item that is reversible. That's why it doesn't change, because it's still reversible. In the case of robbers or people who lended on interest who want to do teshuvah and return the money. The victims should not take money as to redeem it. Whoever does take it, accepts it from them, he's not the smart guy. In terms of Rabbi, this was taught. The Tanya. This guy wants to teshuvah. His wife said to him, Reka, empty one. Said teshuvah. Even the belt that you're wearing is not yours. Yani, his wife says, well, how are you going to do teshuvah? You stole everything. You stole so much money that even that belt that you're wearing, you paid or bought with stolen money. Or stole it itself. Then he didn't do teshuvah. Therefore, at that time it said, if people want to return the money, don't let them return the money, let them keep it. Otherwise, if it's too much to return, they'll give up. People who do accept it from them, people, they're not smart. Someone's father died and not the money that was made from interest money. It is asur. Even though they know to repeat, they don't have to return it. Sounds like they don't have to return it, but if their father was alive, he'd have to return it. Sounds like they're patur to return it. Patur from what? Which means that the father, had he been alive, he'd have to return it against what we just said. Where our answer is bedinhu. No, technically their father also doesn't have to return it. But how did they do it? When the fact I mentioned the children, because they want to teach something else. Next part of the Brayta, which was that the father left them a cow or clothing or anything, an item that was taken with interest as interest. They have to return it for their father's honor. Therefore, since it mentioned the children in the second case, it also mentioned the children in the first case. But if it was money, even the father wouldn't have to return it. You have to return it for their father's honor. You shall not curse an asi who's part of your nation. He has to be considered part of the nation. He has to be tzaddik, doing things. Therefore, if you don't have to honor a nasi who was not part of the nation, so maybe you don't have to honor your father who wasn't doing things part of the nation, or you're doing illegal stuff. The Gemara says, "Kid amara bi Pinhas b'she'asa teshuvah yedid teshuvah." Chanami asa teshuvah yedid teshuvah. Therefore, you should try to honor him. Asa teshuvah may ba'ay kabeh. If he did teshuvah, why does he still have it? He should have returned it. He should have returned it already. Gemara says, "Shelo speak lahazir tashmet." He did teshuvah, but he didn't get a chance to return it before he died. Tashma, there's robbers and people lent money and interest. Even if they collected it, they still return it. Which is because the name robbers, what do you mean they collected? Igazu, if they robbed it, gazu. It's already collected, quote unquote. Lo gazel, if it wasn't stolen yet. Lo gazel, they didn't steal it. They're not robbers. Rather, you have to say, robbers, and what's considered a robber? People who lend an interest, even though they already collected it, they have to return it. So we see you do return it. Amri, the Gemara says, they should try to return it, but we should not accept it from him. What's the point of returning it? Let's say this to show God that I tried to return it, I did my part. Okay. Tashma, shepherds, tax collectors, and customs. It's hard teshuvah. These people are tested daily. Maybe they take extra money that they're not supposed to take. Very, very hard jobs that's tempting to steal. They should try to identify what they stole to who and try to return it. Stira. Amri, machzirin in meklinin. Should try to return it, and we shouldn't accept it. The Gemara says in question about machzirin. Say the Shemaim, what's the point of returning it? And the answer is to do your teshuvah for God. So what's so hard? They don't have to return it even. Additionally, and the next part says, next part of the Braita also says that if you don't know who you stole from or how much you stole from everybody, you should do things for the general public, like making caves and wells and stuff that people could benefit from. So therefore, like you're returning to society. So we see that you should be doing teshuvah. And you should be trying to return the actual money to the actual people you stole from. Stira. Where it says, another question. Kan kodim takana, where you have to repay. The Gemara says each group you have to repay it just now. That before the halacha was made, that could it be that we don't make them pay back because of we feel bad for them. But in our Braita, what we said that your patur is when we after the takana of Rabbi that said they shouldn't do it. And the answer is that Rahman says the case of Rabbi is referring to where the item is not there anymore. You stole whatever it was, now it's not there anymore. I feel to me, therefore you can say both cases are after the takana, and therefore you can answer it. It comes in looking at one case, they said to return what you robbed, then you still have the item. And then over there, when you don't have to return it anymore, it's not there anymore. In the case of the belt, where we see the guy had the belt and you didn't require him to return it. So we see he even had it there. Where says my avnet, the avnet. She didn't mean the actual belt. She said that the money was that you bought the belt with, and therefore the item wasn't there anymore. Is it true that every time when the item's not there anymore, you don't have to return it anymore? But we know we have a cross beam that was used to build a building or a mansion. You see the beam right in front of your face in your house. The Mishnah says a stolen beam that was used to build a mansion. She told him he should only pay the money instead of it. Also because takana. But technically, if it's in front of you, you should break it down and return it. My answer is very good answer. Since the person doesn't want to ruin the whole house that he built with this stone beam, that's considered like it doesn't exist. So meaning, if it's a hassle or painful to return the item because of a severe loss, like breaking down the building to take down the porch that you stole, that is something that does not, it's as if it's not there anymore, and therefore you should pay cash instead. Okay, next part of the Mishnah says, someone stole a pregnant cow and it gave birth, or a sheep that had wool and he sheared it, you pay the value of it before this happened. It says, someone stole a sheep and it sheared it, a cow and it gave birth, you pay the shearings and the child. That's according to the Meir against our Mishnah. Rabbi says, you return the animal as is, and Rabbi Shimon Omer, we view it as if it was priced out, and you pay the cash value at the time of the robbery. Seemingly the same thing as Rabbi Shimon, and we'll have to explain what that difference is. We'll continue tomorrow. Amen. Amen.